Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. Everybody's favorite internet wrestling old school magazine show is back again. We're reading old wrestling magazines. Stephen Miles here, Ryan Young there. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, bud. How's it going?
We are journeying all the way back to the magical time of December of 1993. And let's go ahead and get right into it. This is WWF Magazine, World Wrestling Federation. We don't know what we're going to get. We reach into the bag of old magazines, and today we have found this one. We've got Razor Ramon on the cover here. How long can the bad guy hold the belt?
I'm chomping at the bit.
So you got to think here, December of 1993. We're coming off of the Survivor Series with the All-American team of Lex Luger. The Lex Express is cruising. The Foreign Fanatics, and he's having problems with Yokozuna. Razor Ramon is the Intercontinental Champion. A lot of things going on here.
Absolutely. I already see something on the cover of this magazine that bothers me.
All right.
Have no memory of the Steiner brothers winning the tag team titles.
Okay.
Did not know they were WWF
The Steiners. How did they lose the belt?
That's right. That's what that says on there. And I guess I'm gonna find out.
And there's Doink the Clown.
I might not find out how they won, but I'm definitely gonna find out how they lose.
Doink's special interview is no laughing matter.
Now, is that the angry Doink? He looks like the sad Doink.
December of '93. I think he's probably the happy Doink at this point. Well, here we start off with an advertisement for the World Wrestling Federation action figures from Hasbro. Undertake them all. Look at this lineup here. Great figures. That Mountie figure looks great, and that Warlord figure looks good. I had the Papa Shango figure with the bone necklace.
These were a good run of figures. Like, they looked a lot like the actual wrestlers.
Well, yeah, and this Berserker, he had an actual felt vest on.
Was this a hard switch for you from the larger, like, hard rubber?
The LJN rubber figures. Well, those had more detail, and those were a little more, you could throw those around a little bit. These were smaller, but they were painted and looked different.
And these were action figures. They actually had action to them, didn't they? Like
you could move the arms around.
Or something.
And this is probably the only time you're ever going to see a WWF or WWE figure with nails, since he allegedly attacked Vince McMahon.
I can't believe they did a nails figure. How much do you think that goes for, probably, like online or something?
Well, a lot of these figures were made. I can't imagine it's too much. But it's probably the only opportunity to get a nails figure.
I had a lot of
I'm going to take a guess.
I don't remember nails. I also don't remember Skinner. That's a good one, too.
That's not bad. I had that IRS, I remember.
That's a good one.
Every kid loves the wrestling tax man. So when you think of December 1993 in the World Wrestling Federation, what comes to mind for you?
Not a lot. I remember from '93. The clearest thing for me that I remember from '93 is like SummerSlam, like that Lex Luger leading into SummerSlam, trying to take on Yokozuna, trying to win the title.
Well, you got to think December of 1993. We're leading into what you've called one of your favorite shows of all time, the Royal Rumble '94.
That's a good point. Royal Rumble '94.
So this is the time that you got to say
that's my favorite Rumble.
You like this roster and what's going on here.
But I don't really remember like the build-up. I do remember Yokozuna is running from the Undertaker. Yokozuna is scared to death of the Undertaker. I thought that no one sold Undertaker like Yokozuna.
I thought he was scared of the caskets.
He's scared of the whole thing.
I'm scared of all
the whole bit is he's not like it. He doesn't want to rest in peace.
Now there's Bret Hart with the fan forum. What does Bret Hart have to say there? With the Sgt. Pepper jacket on.
Is there a quote anywhere? There's no quote. You want me to read the whole thing?
You don't. Can you give us a highlight that you see over there from the fan forum? I know you've said in the past you love that Bret Hart jacket with the Sergeant. Some people call that the Sgt. Pepper jacket. The jacket with the tassels, the marching band jacket.
I like that jacket. I did read something in here that I don't think Bret would like, where it says, "I would like to interview Lex Luger." I don't think he wants to be talking about Lex Luger right now.
Do you remember Best of the Best Championship Karate on the Sega Genesis? You were an avid gamer.
I didn't have. I was a Nintendo kid.
Oh, okay.
I had a Sega Genesis, but it didn't really take. I played a little Sonic, and I think I sold it for more Nintendo games.
That's cool. Well, this is tough talk. You're seeing the Steiner brothers right there. What's missing from this picture? See, they're talking about the titles.
Got to be those tag titles.
Yeah.
Or are they talking about their penises?
I'm going to guess, since we saw it on the cover about the belts. It's talking about belts. I'm gonna take a guess.
But if you took it out of context, what's missing in this picture?
Well, I'm sure a lot of kids had a joke about that back in December '93. Look at this. Here's a picture of Doink here, and then look, you turn this picture, and here's another picture of Doink. He's all over the place.
They're working on him. They're trying to get him going.
Now, why is Adam bummed out here?
Because
Adam Bomb seems to be having a problem. What is he upset about?
he's not over.
Well, he's got the tattoo of the hydrogen bomb. That's got to be something.
That's not bad.
I remember the first WWF wrestling show I ever went to. Barry Horowitz was in the opening match. So I always like seeing Barry Horowitz because it reminds me of that. He was like the classic starting the show off guy.
Do you remember who he was going against?
I don't, but I remember Barry Horowitz.
How about that?
Yeah. Now Jack Tunney, you were a big Jack Tunney fan.
I was. To me, Jack Tunney represented Law and Order at the WWF.
Who represents Law and Order for you now, present day?
I'm kind of missing that in my
Nails?
life. Yeah. Well, no.
Maybe you need a little more nails in your life.
But Nails, doing an impression of Nails is like my favorite thing.
Let's go ahead and hear it. Now's a great time.
I set it up, right?
For your Nails impression.
Okay, here we go.
Boss man, I'm gonna take that nightstick here
That's,
and beat you over the head with it.
that's scary. That's scary.
I'm in that 6x9 cell.
Alright, now I'm done. I had to get the 6x9 cell in.
Look at this 2-page advertisement for the Royal Rumble for a slammin' holiday bash.
That's one of my favorite video games ever. I had so much fun playing this Royal Rumble on Super Nintendo.
Well, there you go right there. There's the Super Nintendo. There's Genesis, Game Boy, Game Gear. I had Game Gear. And
Did you have Steel Cage?
that's the Nintendo Entertainment System. I don't think I had Steel Cage Challenge. No.
You had King of the Ring, though.
No, I don't think I did. I had, I think it was just called Superstars.
Oh, okay. Was it fun?
It was okay. Now this looks like Hulk Hogan getting ready to hit the Texas Tornado with a chair. Do you see that over there?
Is that? Do you think that's the Texas
I
Tornado?
don't, but maybe Rick Martel. Who do you think that is?
Shawn Michaels?
In white trunks like that?
No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Shawn Michaels. This is Shawn Michaels.
That makes a little more sense.
And do you know who's got him right there?
It looks like Mr. Perfect, maybe.
That's Crush. That's the Kona Crush.
Okay, so
He's throwing that finishing move.
you played this game a lot then.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I did.
So you think all of your years of watching Shawn Michaels, you see the white trunks and
No,
the
that's
white
not-
boots, and you think,
I was just trying to think of who it was, but I've seen
And
it. That's got to be Shawn
and
Michaels.
the brunette hair, and you're thinking that's got to be Shawn Michaels.
Well, it can't be Kerry Von Erich.
I would say Kerry Von Erich might be a little closer than Shawn Michaels.
Do you
though.
remember him on a video game?
But I never remember Shawn Michaels in white trunks either. So
Yeah, you're right.
that's something else. Well, this is the personality profile of Luna. Where is Luna from?
Luna, just
Yeah.
we're
Where is
the
she
other side of darkness.
Okay. I've known some people like that too.
Luna was an unlockable character on the video game Raw, which came out after Royal Rumble for Super Nintendo, which was a really fun one for me. She was unlockable.
Who did you play this game that we were just talking about here? Who did you play this game with? Was it just you against the computer, or did you have someone you played against?
I probably just played this one by myself against the computer because I don't think my brother was probably like a baby when that came out.
And how did you do against the computer? Was it fun?
Oh, I had a great time.
Wasn't too difficult for you.
It was a hoot, and I couldn't win.
See, I remember the WrestleMania arcade game, which I think was maybe '95, which was kind of like an answer to Mortal Kombat. It was very over the top with Doink with the electric hand buzzer and everything.
That game was fun, but it was I like my wrestling video games real.
Yeah. Well, you like your wrestling video games to be presented like athletes.
That's right.
Well, we've seen them a lot in here already. I mean,
that blew my mind.
December of 1995 or 1993, Doink is all over the place. Since his arrival on the scene, the mysterious masked prince of comedy has been causing chaos throughout the Federation. I mean, look at him there. He's just having a wild time, it looks like.
How long would you say Doink's run was? How long was Doink in WWF?
Let's see. He probably started showing up around late 92, early 93, right?
Okay.
And he was probably, I don't remember him around too much in 95. So I'm going to say probably 93 and 94.
Did he ever? It seemed like a good character, and it seemed like the guy that was doing it did a really good job.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like Doink ever really went anywhere.
Well, Doink was portrayed by a couple different people. The first Doink was Matt Bourne. Do you remember Big Josh in WCW?
Of course.
He was the original Doink. And
Okay.
then I think this Doink at this point, I'm not sure if this is still Matt Bourne here or not, but he went to a guy called Ray Apollo, who was the one that kind of feuded with Bam Bam Bigelow. And he looked a little different and moved in the ring a little different.
Why the change? Do you know why the change?
Well, there's a lot of different stories out there.
Is it? Okay. And then that was a problem. I guess the other guy didn't have the same flair as Doink.
Ica Pro, you've got to want it.
I feel like you told me about Santa Claus just then. I didn't know Doink was played by a different person.
Oh, Doink was portrayed by lots of different people. And he would pop up in the years later, and he was portrayed by lots of different people. Everyone's been Doink at some point if you talk to enough people.
Oh, okay.
You've probably been Doink once or twice.
I've been Doinked.
Maximum muscle mass and definition in just 9 weeks. Do you remember when the WWF was really on board with Ica Pro, the professional bodybuilding program? You would see the banners in the arenas and everywhere.
Oh, I remember when I was like 10,
You took some.
the Ica Pro was sitting underneath the Christmas tree, not wrapped. It was pretty neat.
You got the bodybuilding program for Christmas.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And what was inside of it? Pills and protein powders?
You see it, yeah. Workout routines. my mother had gotten me a couple of 2.5 pound dumbbells, and
You were trying to get some weight on your legs.
and
the arms.
there's the results, baby. There's the result.
There's something in this bottle here called Ica Pro Night Force. Is that something that you took?
You know what? I did for a couple of weeks, but I didn't hardly sleep at all.
What did that do for you? Night Force.
It's almost like your body's just trying to heat it up.
Yeah.
And you can't really sleep good.
And
But
this-
it's like you're working out all your muscles because all the heating.
And this looks like a spray bottle that says Muscle Mist. Is that just kind of water in a bottle?
You just spray that, and you just
In your muscles and
then you glisten.
like
and then,
like arrogance.
and
Rick
then-
Martel would spray.
and then it just accentuates all your positives.
What would be in that though? Muscle Mist.
It accentuates all your
Alright.
everything you got.
Battle of the Titans here. The Quebecers bag the belts.
Well, that makes sense to me. They were a great tag team.
Well, this is Johnny Polo here. He's got the Canadians hockey jersey on.
They were that was a really good tag team. They were a hoot. Johnny Polo was a good manager.
And this article is written by one Vince Russo, who got his start writing for the magazine.
I was a big fan
And he certainly went on to write the show for a while.
of the Quebecers. I really like it.
How
Vince
about-
Russo, obviously, he's a good wrestling guy.
You're a
a good
big,
mind for the business.
he's very controversial. Some people don't like his style. Some people do.
I'm a fan.
He, depending on where you stand on that one. I preferred the fabulous Rougeau brothers to the Quebecers. Raymond and Jacques, as opposed to Pierre.
I like the Quebecers a little bit more. I like the uniforms. I like the addition of Johnny Polo as a manager.
But he's wearing the same uniform he wore as the Mountie, though.
It was like he brought in it brought him back up.
Isn't it strange that he was dressed like a Mountie and calling himself the Mountie, and then didn't change his outfit, but he was no longer called the Mountie?
He wasn't called the Mountie anymore,
No, they were the Quebecers, Jacques and Pierre.
but he had the same outfit.
Well,
I thought he was still the Mountie.
I don't think he had the sunglasses.
I thought
and
they
the
were
hat.
both Mounties.
I don't remember that ever. I don't remember him being a Mountie ever being mentioned once the other Pierre came in.
Didn't they still come out to that song? I'm the Mountie, handsome, brave, and strong.
I don't remember. Both of them would come out to that?
I think so.
Don't remember that.
They should have.
Razor Ramon, what does this say here? Immigrant's dream. Razor has a new kind of gold, a belt. I guess they're playing up that Razor Ramon is a Cuban immigrant here.
I like the world we live in, where we get to see an immigrant's dream when it's Scott Hall, and he's the immigrant's dream. That's about as far as I want to see the dream go.
When a guy is an American citizen
Right.
and portrays someone from another country, and that's the dream
That's
come
the
true.
immigrant's dream that I
That's
also
certainly a brand
dream
new way of looking at it. But I'll tell you, this is a great belt. One of my favorite belts of all time, that Intercontinental belt. That looks great.
That is a dandy. That looked good at WrestleMania 10 when they were two of them
Oh,
hanging
two,
out.
they were glistening.
ladders.
They were glistening. Well, listen to this here. Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Action so hot, it's smoking. I wonder why they felt the need to...
Let's see here. Let's dig in. What are these pictures of right here? I'm having trouble seeing them because the color is distorted. You know, I like real crisp, clean pictures.
Well, if anyone watched our Pro Wrestling Illustrated episode, you don't like it when it turns to newsprint. We know that. When the paper turns to...
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't get that.
Well, Smoky Mountain Wrestling was going on around this time, run by Jim Cornette. And I guess that Jim Cornette was also appearing as the American spokesman for Yokozuna.
Right.
So maybe a deal was made for them to get a little publicity for Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Now this picture here looks like the Heavenly Bodies.
I believe that's Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey and the Doctor of Love, Tom Pritchard.
Okay. Now, is this Barry Windham?
That looks like a young primetime Brian Lee and a young Sonny Tammy Sitch.
That's Sunny?
I believe so. She got her start in Smoky
She
Mountain
looks like
Wrestling.
she's being sultry in that.
Sultry?
That's right. This is a good time for Sunny. Oh, speaking of Sunny, there's Chris Candido, her husband.
There's Chris Candido, and looks like the Rock and Roll Express there. Tracy Smothers, the wild-eyed Southern boy. This was an interesting time for wrestling in 1993. Business was kind of down across the board, you know, as far as ratings and attendance went. So not maybe the best time for Smoky Mountain Wrestling to be around, when wrestling's kind of in a downtime.
Yeah, but I think that Jim Cornette loved wrestling. He wanted to be in the wrestling.
Well, from a business perspective, maybe not the best time.
I don't know that business always is the first thing people think of when they start a wrestling company. I think, don't you think Jim Cornette probably just loved wrestling and just wanted to be in the wrestling?
Maybe that's
business?
why so few of them last very long.
There you go.
Yeah. Here's a game called Sidekick Soccer. This was on Super Nintendo. You ever remember playing that?
I don't remember playing that, and that's probably because I found a game for Super Nintendo called Super Soccer that I thought was excellent.
Hey, why don't you ask me a trivia question and I'll see if I can answer it.
Let's do it.
Pick one out, and I will show all of our wonderful viewers, our wonderful friends out there from all over the world, my great wrestling knowledge.
All right.
I'm not looking at the answers, as we can see.
Lex Luger
Okay.
had a stint with another NFL team, one of the league's oldest.
Okay.
Do you know which team it was?
I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers.
It was the Green Bay Packers.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It never stopped.
What you're seeing here is totally unedited. There's no tricks. I told Ryan pick out a question, and I just answered it. It's just I wonder what would be in my brain if it wasn't for useless wrestling knowledge.
Hey, wait a minute. Go back there. What about these shows?
Okay, this is the calendar of events. Everyone remembers maybe
Mania.
Mania was a fun show.
Yeah.
All American Wrestling was a fun show, and then of course the early days of Monday Night Raw.
I was never big on a Sunday wrestling show.
Well, that's when all the pay-per-views were.
No, but I mean like those, like the regular shows. I always watch the ones on Saturday, like
You saw
Superstars.
pay-per-views though.
But like Sunday Night Heat.
Just to show the fans that I'm no joke, why don't you pick out one more question?
All right. The 1-2-3 Kid has black belts in which forms of martial arts?
Well, how many are there? I mean, is it 1, 2, 10?
Hold on, let me find it, and I'll let you know.
That's not a great question because you don't know how many. He should
2.
be. 2? I'm going to say he's got a black belt in karate and Hapkido.
That's all wrong.
What's the answers?
It's Taekwondo and Judo.
Here we've got the calendar of events for December of 1993. We were just talking about that. And look, we were saying, that's one of the best covers, I would say, of a wrestling show. That Survivor Series 93. It's got the All-American team and they're feasting on Yokozuna. But then if you remember, when on the opposite side, it was reversed, and you had the foreign fanatics, and they were feasting on the American turkey.
They're feasting on Yokozuna.
It's a turkey with the sumo belt on.
Well, that's not Yokozuna.
They're
I thought
symbolically.
they were doing
They're
cannibalism.
symbolically.
Scared the hell out of me when I looked over there.
They're symbolically feasting on Yokozuna.
Oh, okay. And on the other side, it's the foreign
It's
fanatics.
reversed. Ludwig Borga and
The Quebecers.
Yokozuna. Well, look what we just mentioned, and there he is, Ludwig Borga. There were big plans for him. It looked like he was going to be a big threat to Lex Luger. Do you remember his threat to
My
Lex Luger?
question is, how did that not work?
Well, he certainly looks like a formidable opponent.
I remember one of those vignettes when he was in the ghetto.
Oh, he said, "Is this your American dream?" And he would see the trash.
Yeah.
You probably do something like that now, but you wouldn't want to offend anybody.
He would be a good one for immigrants' dream too.
Well, as you said,
He has an
Scott
immigrant's
Hall
dream
was
to immigrate back to where he came from.
I never understood what Ludwig Borga's issue was. He was upset about America, and he was going to show you how upset he was by having a wrestling match.
I don't know what the goal. I don't know. You know, not everybody is purpose driven.
Well, there we go. Lex Luger with the Lex Express, the call to action.
Let's see here. That was a real change of pace for Lex Luger. Have you ever seen Lex Luger any brighter than he was in that moment right there?
Well, I think even Lex Luger himself would tell you that I think he prefers to be a little more full of himself and not so much Yankee Doodle Dandy.
But I think WWF had the right idea. I think that's the most successful he ever was.
This is an idea. I like the idea of this. I like the idea of putting a guy in a bus and sending him around the country to drum up support for his title match. I like that idea. If someone presents that idea to me, I like it. I don't think Lex Luger is a great idea for that guy. Like, can you imagine like Dusty Rhodes in something like this? Where he's in a bus and he's traveling around the country and talking to people.
Absolutely, but Lex Luger doesn't have he doesn't have the look that Lex Luger does. Lex Luger did have a great look for that character, for like an American hero.
Granted.
Dusty has the personality. If you could somehow merge Dusty and Lex, for that angle,
you take over the world.
That's right.
Well, look, this is the preview.
That's
of
Hulk
Survivor.
Hogan, I guess.
Well,
I guess.
this is the preview of Survivor Series, which I guess as at press time had not happened yet. But we were talking about the foreign fanatics, and this is what I was just talking about here. We've got a picture of the American team feasting on Yokozuna, and then look at this. It's reversed. And then we've got the foreign fanatics feasting on the Lex Luger turkey.
Wow, that's awesome.
I thought that was always really well done, if you look at those side by side like that.
That is really neat. Now, let's go. Can we go back just 1 second here to this match?
Do we have to? The King's Court against the Hart family?
What do you think of this idea? Of Bret Hart bringing his brothers in that are not wrestlers on the roster.
Well, Owen Hart was on the roster.
Yeah, but 2 of his brothers were absolutely not.
No, they weren't.
And Jerry Lawler against 3 faceless knights. Like random just knights.
Yeah, makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It was like for one night they were trying to sell that Jerry Lawler was actually the king of somewhere. Because he had knights.
Well, don't you think this was probably all done to set up the feud that would go throughout 1994 between Bret and Owen? Don't you think that's the whole reason this was set up?
Did something happen that night between Bret and Owen?
If I remember correctly, Owen was the only one that was eliminated on that team. And he came out
I remember.
and pushed Bret Hart because he was celebrating.
He was upset. Yeah, yeah.
Because didn't he knock Owen Hart like off the apron or something, and he was upset?
Right, and then...
Which led to their
And
Royal Rumble against the Quebecers.
They said we've made up and all that stuff is behind us now.
And then Owen Hart kicked the leg out of his leg.
He kicked this leg right out of his leg.
And then things were never the same after that.
I love that Owen Hart.
Boy, look at that smiling, happy 1, 2, 3 kid.
No, what a jerk.
I think that was probably when Mr. Perfect had shaved off his eyebrows at a hotel one night. That's always been the story.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, as a prank. That's a great Rick Martel, though. I have that hat, a captain's hat, yachting cap.
This seems like a team of people that would have like a pretty good party.
Boy, can you imagine Scott Hall, Mr. Perfect, Marty Jannetty, and the 1, 2, 3 kid? I bet it was wild at the Hilton.
I bet they know how to have a good time.
It was
a good celebration.
This group.
They had to have won. They had to have won that night, right?
I haven't seen that one in a while.
I haven't
think
either.
yes. No, that's Clowns.
You got to be kidding
Clowns
me.
Are Us against the, what was that team called? I don't think it had a name. Bastion Booger, the Head Shrinkers, and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Was it really 4 doinks? I apologize for the yawning.
That
Steve
was the
actually
one.
woke me up.
This
He
was
said, "Hey, we got to go to work." I
This-
was late.
This was the show where it was the bushwhackers and men on a mission that had the doink makeup on.
Oh yeah, and then
You
at the
remember
end,
that.
after they won, Bam Bam was walking back, and Doink was on the big screen.
Right. And he said, "I gave you a nice sandwich, Doink Mo and Doink Mabel."
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Now look again. It looks like he doesn't have the eyebrows. So that was always the prank. He was getting some pictures taken, and Mr. Perfect shaved his eyebrows.
Wow.
And I think looks like it was around that time.
Good rib. Because there he has eyebrows.
The WWF fan club. Were you a member of the fan club in?
I wasn't. Were you? What did you get with the fan club?
Well, you got a camera, a music cassette, a sticker sheet, and a membership card.
And how much did it cost to get in?
$12.95.
Wow, that's a really good deal. I'd like to have another shot at that.
Looks like Macho Man has 6 arms here.
Yeah, I seen that. I like that. It's good technology to give him 6 arms.
Now this looks like we're focusing on some of the shows across the world.
Would you ever put a foam hand in your mouth?
I probably did at one point.
Yeah.
You had the foam tomahawk at the time.
Tatanka.
I remember we went to a live event, maybe about '94, and you had the foam tomahawk.
Yeah.
Didn't you also have the foam razor blade for Razor Ramon?
No, I think you had that.
Yeah.
I had the necklace, the Razor Ramon necklace that was a razor
I did
blade.
too. It was a dog tag with a razor blade on it.
Right.
And I had it in school, and I remember a principal looked at it, and he said, "Who is Razor Ramen?"
Ah.
And then he said I couldn't.
He wasn't hip.
He couldn't wear it anymore. Well, this looks like the WWF stars at the Jerry Lewis telethon.
I see they brought the big names.
And look at this, jumping Joe Fowler. Do you remember Joe Fowler, who had a brief run as a backstage announcer and interviewer?
I think he was pretty bad, wasn't
I don't remember him being bad.
he? I remember him being pretty bad.
Boy, if you're saying somebody's bad, I can just imagine.
He was making me sick.
Well, you are a master broadcaster. This has been well established. Nothing but professionalism. Pin them down. Ryan, go ahead and ask a question and then answer it as the superstar that was chosen here.
Okay.
And of course, you have to do an impression of them as you're.
Well,
Answering
let me
the question.
see here. Who do we have? Okay. Well, I'll do Yoko.
Okay. I'll ask you the question.
You asked me the question.
Yokozuna, how does it feel to be slammed? Now you would answer. Now you would answer as Yokozuna.
It wasn't a slam, idiot. It was a hip toss. Remember, Yokozuna is the champion.
Okay, you should make it clear. It says Jim Cornette served as Yokozuna's spokesman.
See, I read ahead. It wasn't Yokozuna. It was Jim Cornette that I had to do the impression of. I don't know if I did a very good Jim Cornette impression, but I tried.
I was a little upset. I thought we were going to get Yokozuna.
I was all wound up to do something racist.
One Hulk too many. Someone has been posing for Hulk Hogan. Do you see the difference between the two Hulk Hogans?
Let's see. My attention to detail is very well known. I'm going to say the thumbs up. I think I got it. I nailed it. Thumbs up.
I don't think that's the only difference.
There's no cross on his neck.
9 differences. It says 9
Okay.
differences.
I'm gonna do no. He's got the thumbs up. He doesn't. No cross on the necklace. The outline of the triangle. The nipples are the same. Hulkamania, Hulkster.
Nipples are the same, huh?
Yeah, the nipples seem fine.
Looks like the waistband of these pants look a little different than these.
That's right. That's right.
Well, good
I don't
job.
know about 9 differences. I got a few
You
though.
got a few of them there.
I did alright.
Now, who's Jerry Lawler hitting with a cake there?
Well, it's on the King's Court. Oh, I think it's Howard Finkel.
Oh, that sounds good. Do you remember Electro Brain on the Super Nintendo?
Electro Brain. What's that supposed to do?
It says the Lost Dimension in the only true 3D game. Special glasses included. That wasn't one that you played?
No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
We should have got a shot at that.
And there
We're done already?
And there we see the ring.
We finished it.
This says Electro Brain too.
Oh, Electro Brain must be...
The company that maybe makes the game.
And the 3D games.
Well, Ryan, when you think of December 1993, what comes to mind there? Do you obviously we mentioned we're leading up to one of your favorite pay-per-views, which is the Royal Rumble '94. So you must like this roster that's going on here this time.
Well, you know what I find odd is that we were talking about that how I find Yokozuna afraid of the Undertaker, but there was no mention of Undertaker in that magazine.
His picture was in there.
But like for anything coming up, like he didn't have anything going on at that Survivor Series. Did he do anything? Do you remember if he did anything at that Survivor Series?
There was a picture in here of.
All I saw was a video that said greatest matches.
There was a picture here. Okay, see, the way I remember this, somehow Tatanka is not in this match.
Okay.
And the Undertaker takes his place.
Oh, really?
And he's got the coat on that's got the American flag in it.
The Undertaker?
Undertaker is one of the All-Americans. On the paper, on the show itself.
His coat, the liner of it is an American flag?
He opens it up and it's got the American flag on the inside of it.
I'm stunned. That's awesome.
So maybe the Undertaker is not focused on a lot of stuff around this time, but he is on this show because he's in this match. Tatanka is not.
Do you think Tatanka got bumped?
I don't remember the details. Maybe he was really hurt, or maybe it was just a story.
Do you think they put the color in his hair and they make him get in the get-up and they told him he wasn't going to be going out? That seems embarrassing.
Maybe
you had no shirt on.
Maybe someone told Tatanka what he might be having to do that night, and he said that doesn't work for me, brother.
Tatanka's got that kind of clout?
Who knows? But
if you want my opinion of Tatanka, watch the movie Natural Born Killers. And watch Rodney Dangerfield's line in that.
We didn't get an impression of Yokozuna, but I think you're depriving the great viewers we have. Why don't you do a Yokozuna impression?
Okay. Oh, Thanksgiving time, and I like to eat a big turkey with a big, nice bowl of rice. Ha ha ha!
That sounds more like your Freddy Krueger impression.
I'll work on it.
Okay. So, what do you think of this magazine at this time? Do you like what's going on here?
I don't think I loved the WWF around that time so much. I did enjoy that Royal Rumble show that's getting ready to come up in '94. WrestleMania 10 is not one of my favorites.
You're 10 years old at this point here. What are you into?
But when I'm 10 years old, I'm probably loving every minute of it.
But at this time, in December of 1993, what are you into? Super Nintendo, obviously.
Yeah, Super Nintendo. I'm 10 years old. Weekend at Bernie's. I remember I like Weekend at Bernie's a lot. I watched that a lot.
Well, Ryan...
my brother was just born. He was like 2 years old. I played with him a lot. I enjoyed spending a lot. You go back and look at any photo of my brother as a baby, and I'm like somewhere in the background. Like I'm around, like smiling and having a good time.
Well, Ryan, thank you for taking this this journey with me and with all of the wonderful... viewers here back to December of 1993, and who knows where we'll be next time. We reach into a bag and it can be any time and any place.
It was my pleasure. So we can go back to bed now, right? Well, not we. No, I didn't mean us. I meant like, it's just like the work's done, everybody can go to sleep now, I can take a nap.